Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talking Tunes' first live workshop. So today we're going to be talking about what we're always talking about with Talking Tunes. We're talking about writing music for your stage one piano students, but also getting your stage one piano students to write their own music. And so we'll be focusing on the second one today, writing music in lessons with your students. One of the best ways I've found let me just get my thing sharing here. Hold on a second. Okay, I just entered full screen mode and then my window disappeared. So let me just get that open again. But getting students to write lyrics-based music in a piano lesson is a really good entry point. Most students, when they are requesting a song that they'd like to play, it's almost always a song that has lyrics, which makes me think that this is the music that often speaks to students. Another reason to use, here we go. Now I've got my window and I won't stumble over my words as much. Let's try this again. Okay, so here we go, Talking Tunes. So lyrics is an entry point for composition and piano lessons, specifically with stage one students, younger students or beginning students. So kids really relate to vocal music whenever I ask a student, what do you want to play? 90% plus of the time, I would say it's a pop song by a contemporary singer, and they want to learn the melody, playing that melody on the piano. Also, sometimes asking a student to compose for the first time can seem a little scary to them or daunting because they've never done it before, right? But most students have written words before for school assignments. So starting with something really tangible that they've done before and transferring that to piano can be really helpful. Let's see. It also encourages students to bring in outside topics or non-musical topics that interest them, which I find really helpful because it just engages them in a way that you wouldn't otherwise have. And it also just lets them share a little bit of their personality with you. So let's make sure we can still see all of these things. Okay, well, I'm just going to skip ahead. Clearly, this is the first time I've live streamed with a Google Slides before. So pardon my technical difficulties over here. I've got too many windows going on. So let's just try this again. I'm going to have to open my window. Here we go. I'm just going to keep it like this. Otherwise, Zoom gets confused. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing that I do with students, I would just want to preface this with, there are tons of ways to do this. This is just the way I do it. I would love to hear about the ways you do it by either writing it in the chats below or sending us an email, 8va@oaklef.com. So the first thing we do is pick a topic. Students are usually pretty good at coming up with what they want to write about, though. Sometimes it's maybe just an animal, or sometimes it's a story that they want to tell, or in the example that I'm going to show you later, it's about the excitement of a birthday. The next thing you can do is just brainstorm. So I think just writing down brainstorm ideas it takes away the pressure. It's like, this isn't the words, that we're not committing to any of this. We're just getting out ideas, especially if it's something like an animal. If you saw my video last week, you saw me talking about doing this with Hewitson, writing Mr. Bumblebee. So we just wrote down facts about bumblebees and then figured out a way to rhyme some words and turn it into a song. The next thing you do after figuring out what words you want to write is to improvise, experiment. This is supposed to say play. It's again, we want to relieve the pressure of if I play something on the piano, then that's what's going to be written down forever. No, that's not what we're doing. So I always say, hey, why don't you play with a few different ideas, at least 3 or 4 different things, and then pick your favorite thing and tell it to me. So in picking their favorite thing, that's the decision mode. And then notating is usually me transcribing what they wrote. So I tell them to tell me what notes they were playing, which octave, which hand, all that good stuff. And then I usually interpret the rhythm that they've played and then play it back for them and say, hey, is that the rhythm that you meant? And then we'll tweak it if not. Okay, so this is an example of how I did this with a student very recently. So it was her birthday and she was very excited about that. So we decided to write a birthday song. And this is her story. This was the brainstorm. In fact, she had a lot to say. I only wrote down what I could get down quickly. She had a lot more ideas in her brainstorm than I even wrote down. So there's a girl, it's her birthday, it's the girl's birthday. Something goes wrong, terribly wrong. They're baking a homemade cake. The girl's turning 5 years old, by the way, because this student is actually turning 9 years old. They forgot to set the timer, and now the cake is all smushed, and there's no time to get another cake. And so they have to try to fix the birthday. The birthday's ruined with no cake. But then they remember, oh, we had this party that we went to the other day, and it wasn't our party, but we had to bring a lot of stuff, a lot of food, and then there was leftover stuff. And so they take all that leftover party stuff and they make a birthday buffet, and the birthday is saved. So this is the story. And you can imagine now it's like too many words for a song, right? So that's just the story, the idea for the song. And then the next thing is to sort of condense that into some lyrics. This is the point where the student told me, I want the song to be from the girl's point of view. So not this third person narrative that we had during the brainstorm, but from the first person. It's my birthday, I'm turning 5, yeah. So that was the initial idea she came up with, just like that. So she actually sang it like that. And so then I encouraged her, hey, how do you play that on the piano? Can you find the starting note and figure that out? And that was a really good way to get going with that. So let me now reshare my screen with you, and I'll show you the music that we were writing down. So we started out with that very same thing. It's my birthday, it's my birthday. Let me share my computer sound here. Here we go. Okay. So that little idea gave her some ideas to keep going with the piece. It's my birthday. And then she jumped up an octave. This is something we're doing in lessons right now. We're moving in octaves a lot, moving our hands around the keyboard. And then from here, she decided when we get to the tragic, oh no, look at the cake, we're going to go into the lower octave. So the lower octaves are going to represent a sad mood, and the upper octaves are going to represent a happier mood. So we're still pretty happy here. Let's go look at the cake. And then, oh no, it's smushed. And this is where we just were writing from here to the end yesterday, so it's not quite finished, but this is the lowest point when they find the smushed cake. And then you can see it gets higher and higher as they realize they can still salvage this situation. One thing that was really cool, when she was improvising how to play this ending, she used a big 5/7 to 1 chord, which is very much part of our musical vocabulary that we're developing in our lessons right now. At almost every piece in our method book is using the 1 chord, the 5/7 chord, and sometimes the 4 chord in different keys. So this is one of the reasons we write music in lessons, because it's sort of allowing them to use their musical vocabulary in a creative way, which only then further instills that knowledge into their body. I like to think of it as learning a language. Music is a type of a language, a type of meaning that we create from our brain with sounds that we hear, right? So having an opportunity to actually create your own ideas, your own sentences, or in this case, your own music, really shows that you've learned that part of the musical vocabulary, and it just further ingrains it into your musical knowledge. That's really all I have for this today. I just wanted to show you that even if you start the process with learning, with using words and stories, it doesn't always end up a song with lyrics. When I asked, this is the same student, when I asked her, this was a few weeks ago, what do you want to write a song about? She said, let's write a song called Sunny Winter, because like many parts of the country, we're having a very sunny and warm winter, which is very contradictory. And she's using the same language of low meaning dark and high meaning bright. So we start with the sunny. So before we even wrote anything down, she decided about this representation. She said, okay, so the sunny parts are going to be only in the treble clef, and the winter parts are going to be only in the bass clef. And then at the end, they're going to come together for a sunny winter. And you can see that's exactly what she did. She starts with both hands in the treble clef, which was sort of brought up an interesting topic of how to notate that. We actually put 2 treble clefs here. And then over here, we get to the winter, the sad part. And then we go back to summer, or sunny, I'm sorry. And then you can see the 2 hands together are a sunny winter. This song and the previous song are mostly in the C5 finger scale positions, or C major, because this is, I think, what most students are most comfortable with. And I really enjoy a lot of, I don't know, grown-ups or advanced students who have learned a lot of music theory will try to use harmony to create different moods or sadnesses, happinesses, right? We haven't really gotten there yet in our musical vocabulary. So I love that she's using this problem solving of how can I represent light and dark, happy and sad, just using the vocabulary that we already have. And this has been her solution to that. So I really look forward to, as she continues to develop her musical vocabulary, how she represents these ideas, maybe using different harmonies, different keys, different things like that. Okay, that's all for our very first live workshop.